Nobel Peace Prize winner, a global icon of microfinance. But when crisis struck Bangladesh, did moral prestige translate into political control or expose the limits of global admiration in the harsh arena of power? Hello friends, welcome to Wide Angle. We are here to discuss an 85-year-old chief advisor to the interim government of Bangladesh, Mohammed Yunus, a Nobel laureate. He did not contest the elections, and now with the elections being over in Bangladesh, BNP assuming power, where does Yunus go from here? In today's video, we would talk about the 5 blunders which Yunus committed during his tenure, and we would also see that how his actions and his policies affected Bangladesh's relationship with India. Please stay on till the end of the video. I hope you would enjoy. For decades, Mohammed Yunus stood as a global symbol of innovation and compassion. The architect of microcredit, the banker to the poor, a Nobel laureate who reshaped development economics. But governance is not development theory, and political authority is not moral prestige. When he assumed the role of chief advisor of Bangladesh's interim government during a period of national turbulence and crisis, expectations were enormous. Many believed that his international stature would stabilize institutions, calm domestic tensions, and reassure India, Bangladesh's all-weather, most consequential neighbor. Instead, the transitional period introduced uncertainty internally and regionally. This is not about microfinance, it is about statecraft under pressure. Let us look at those 5 blunders which Yunus committed and for which he would be remembered more than being a reformist, than being an advisor with positive intent for his country. The first blunder which Yunus committed was his underestimating the depth of polarization. Yunus completely failed in this. Bangladesh was already politically fractured when he was brought into power. What appeared miscalculated was the urgency required to assert institutional authority. Transitional governments cannot afford extended ambiguity. Power vacuums are quickly filled, often by the loudest actors, and instead of projecting immediate consolidation, his leadership often appeared reactive. In fragile political climates, perception becomes decisive, and the perception that took hold was simple: the state, and therefore Mohammed Yunus, was not fully in command. There were no doubts about it. For India, which shares one of its longest and most sensitive borders with Bangladesh, instability in Dhaka is never distant. It carries direct security implications, from migration pressures to cross-border militancy. Stability in Bangladesh is not optional for India. It is absolutely strategic, and it will remain strategic always. During his tenure, there was an unprecedented mobilization of the hardliners. One of the most debated developments during the interim phase was the visible resurgence of Islamist street mobilization. Even if not officially endorsed, the absence of swift and forceful boundary setting altered the political atmosphere. Leadership is judged not only by what it introduces, but by what it restrains. For many secular Bangladeshis, though they are very few in number, the optics generated anxiety. For India, they generated strategic concern. South Asia has a long history of ideological movements crossing borders and reshaping internal security dynamics. The issue was not formal policy endorsement. The issue was perceived permissiveness. In geopolitics, perception carries strategic weight. Did Yunus realize this? Then he touched one of the most sensitive chord of India, that is the Seven Sisters, India's northeast. Few regions in India are as strategically delicate as its northeastern states. During the interim period, rhetoric from certain quarters in Bangladesh referenced this region in ways that unsettled observers in New Delhi, and Yunus himself took the lead in this. He mentioned Northeast in not a very friendly manner during his visit to China, and he repeated his rhetoric about Northeast. There was no relenting in that attempt. Where these statements officially doctrined may not be, but were they immediately unequivocally neutralized at the highest level? Not at all decisively.
that distinction mattered. India's northeast has experienced insurgencies, cross-border networks, and fragile security balances. Any narrative that even symbolically touches this region triggers immediate alarm, and India could not sit quiet to all that. Diplomacy functions on reassurance. Silence in sensitive contexts can amplify suspicion, and whether Yunus amplified this suspicion on purpose or whether it was his inexperience, it is difficult to rationalize. All this resulted in an inevitable cooling of diplomatic tone. Over the previous decade, India and Bangladesh had built unprecedented cooperation. Connectivity corridors, energy partnerships, counter-terrorism coordination, trade understandings, and you name it. No formal rupture occurred during the interim period. True, agreements, though not cancelled, were definitely brought under scanner, and India was forced to take some retaliatory measures. Cooperation did not collapse, but the tone shifted, and it did not shift for the positive. Public discourse began framing India less as a trusted partner and more as a dominant regional force requiring recalibration, and there was no initiative from Yunus and his government to tone down this public discourse. Even subtle tonal changes can alter strategic trust, which Yunus did not realize or probably ignored it. Warmth cooled into caution as a result, and confidence shifted into watchfulness. In South Asia's tightly interconnected geopolitical landscape, tone often shapes trajectory, and the trajectory was definitely not in a proper shape. Finally, the law and order broke down in that country, and the minority perception wreaked havoc. Reports of unrest and attacks on minorities during the transitional phase further complicated the diplomatic atmosphere. Whether every incident was accurately reported or politically amplified is secondary in this case to a more important fact that perception hardens quickly. India, with deep civilizational and cultural links to Bangladesh's Hindu community, remains highly sensitive to such developments, and rightly so. Delayed reassurance allowed doubts to spread. In regional diplomacy, narratives solidify faster than clarifications, and once doubt enters strategic calculations, rebuilding comfort requires time and consistency, and the cumulative effect could be an exception. True that no single decision ruptured Indo-Bangladesh relations, but geopolitics rarely turns on one dramatic event. It shifts gradually through accumulation. It shifts through political hesitation, ideological ambiguity, inadequate reassurance on security sensitivities. Yunus started partnering with Pakistan, India's one of the worst enemies, a terrorist nation. Yunus started partnering with them. He went closer to China. He started buying arms from Pakistan. And he allowed the anti-Indian, the terrorist groups of Pakistan to build their bases in Bangladesh. Now, could reassurance be more inadequate? A perceptible cooling in tone resulted. The interim period, though, did not sever ties, but it dented a severe blow in the strategic comfort level. And in international relations, comfort is currency. So where does this legacy of Yunus ultimately rest? In Bangladesh, his legacy will likely remain divided. Supporters will emphasize his global stature, reformist intent, and transitional constraints. Critics will argue that intent was insufficient, that political volatility required firmer control and clearer signaling. In India, memory may separate into two phases. The development visionary who inspired global thinking, though the global thinking did not turn towards India's interest, and the interim leader whose tenure coincided with strategic unease. Across South Asia, his story may evolve into something broader, a reminder that moral authority can mobilize admiration, but political authority must stabilize institutions. History is unsentimental. It does not measure applause in international conferences, but it measures consequences on the ground. Mohammed Yunus transformed the global conversion on poverty. That achievement is permanent, no doubts, but governance revealed a harsher reality. And what was that? Running a nation demands decisiveness, which he lacked. It demands calibrated messaging, which was not there. It demands firm control in moments of fragility, which definitely fell below par. In a region as sensitive as South Asia, and to be more precise, Southeast Asia, even limited ambiguity can echo loudly across borders. And that may define how this chapter is remembered.
If you value sharp, balanced geopolitical analysis grounded in perspective and not partisanship, please support this channel and like this video. Please share it with those who follow South Asian politics seriously, and do subscribe, because the shifts unfolding in our region today will shape its future tomorrow. The subcontinent is entering a new strategic phase, and we will continue to analyze it clearly, critically, and without any hesitation or bias. Till our next video, take care of yourself, stay informed, and God bless you.